4th of July and other summer holidays are fast approaching, and with that, lots of parties and lots of drinking, of course. But tonight, our Call 6 investigators have uncovered where drunk drivers are most likely to be on the road.
It's information that could have you changing when and where you drive and ultimately save your life. Call 6 investigator Kara Kinney joins us now with what she uncovered. Kara?
That's right, Erica. We analyzed more than 25,000 drunk driving crashes and identified where drunk drivers crash in Indiana, right down to the intersection in your neighborhood.
Earl Poole was on his way to breakfast.
Just the metal hitting metal. And the next thing I knew, I was laying over the back seat. It broke the seat down.
The Army veteran had been rear-ended by a drunk driver.
911, an emergency? You have a property accident.
It happened here at 16th and Georgetown, an intersection we found is a drunk driving hotspot. We found 11 DUI crashes there over the past 5 years. It's recently been changed to a roundabout.
6:30 in the morning, impact like that just kind of surprised me.
Earl is one of more than 10,000 people injured in the last 5 years in drunk driving crashes in Indiana. More than 700 have been killed. The Call 6 investigators analyzed 25,000 drunk driving crashes and mapped them. We found DUI crash zones all over Indiana. In terms of interstates, I-65 southbound in Marion County, just past the Meridian Street exit, had the most crashes overall with 8, 6 injured. On city streets, 16th and Georgetown had the most impaired driving crashes, followed by 38th and Kessler, Meridian and Georgia streets, and Southeastern and Sheridan Avenues with 6 drunk driving crashes each. Outside of Marion County, Schuyler Avenue and Sagamore Parkway in Tippecanoe County is a hot spot with 6 drunk driving wrecks, as well as US 31 in Main Street in Johnson County with 5, and US 31 in Lincoln Road in Howard County, also with 5 DUI crashes. We shared our findings with Mothers Against Drunk Driving social worker Lael Hill.
It was quite alarming. What you found will help us in our organization to be able to do community outreach and reach out to victims.
Hill hopes law enforcement will use the data to help choose locations for patrols and sobriety checkpoints.
And these aren't accidents, they're crashes, and they can be avoided.
We showed our drunk driving hotspots to Indianapolis Metro Police as they worked a DUI checkpoint.
Is what we found helpful to you?
There's no such thing as too much data. Yeah, the more the merrier. We welcome the help.
Sergeant Mike Duke says drunk driving crash zones usually have 2 things in common. They're major thoroughfares and they're close to bars and restaurants.
You've entered a Marion County Traffic Safety Partnership sobriety checkpoint. Can I see your driver's license and registration?
Sure.
How does this impact people who say this doesn't affect me?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that center line is just a suggestion. And the people coming towards you, they may be that drunk driver.
Duke says on Friday and Saturday nights, 10% of drivers are drunk. 5 years after the crash, Earl Poole is still recovering from his injuries. The drunk driver, Tina Testerman, pleaded guilty, and 2 years after hitting Earl, she was arrested again for drunk driving and served 11 days in jail. Earl is glad we're spreading the word about drunk driving hotspots. He still gets uneasy behind the wheel.
If you hear tires squealing behind you, you kind of cringe and start looking in the rearview mirrors to see if they're coming at you.
As for top spot 16th in Georgetown, we were surprised to learn that most of the drunk driving crashes happened when races were not at the track.
So what should you do, Kara? Just avoid those hotspots altogether? Or?
Well, obviously one thing to do is avoid going out on Friday and Saturday nights onto the roads. Another thing you can do is you can go to our website, theindychannel.com. We have a slew of maps. You can actually zoom in right to your neighborhood and see where drunk driving crashes are happening. A lot of food for thought as we approach those summer holidays.
Yeah, I zoomed into my neighborhood earlier this evening. Very helpful information.
Yes.
Thank you, Kara.
6 investigates now. A drunk driver busted again and again and again, potentially putting you and your family at risk on the road. Tonight, Call 6 investigates Kara Kinney is digging into why a repeat drunk driver is not behind bars despite just receiving his 8th drunk driving conviction.
Michael Myers, 8 drunk driving convictions, 4 different counties, 3 stints in state prison for drunk driving, 20 license suspensions. Why do you keep drinking and driving?
I don't have any comments. I'm getting.
You have 8 cases on your record. Why do you keep doing it, sir?
I can email you the reason.
You can email me. I'm standing right in front of you. Can you just answer a few questions?
No, thank you.
In July of this year, Myers was driving in Hendricks County when he crashed his car into a concrete barrier and then a guardrail. He was drunk, still on parole with the Department of Correction from his last drunk driving offense. Myers pleaded guilty to 2 drunk driving offenses for that incident. He could have been sentenced to more than 10 years in prison, but he wasn't. In fact, Myers isn't serving any prison time for his 8th drunk driving conviction.
What do you say to people that don't want to be on the road next to you?
I'm not driving anymore, so they don't have anything to worry about.
Myers reached a plea agreement with prosecutors, and Judge Smith sentenced Myers to drug court. He does not discuss details of pending cases, but agreed to sit down with us to talk about drug court.
The ultimate goal is public safety, is to keep people from repeating offenses and repeating old habits that got them to this point to begin with.
Smith says prison is not always the best place for repeat offenders.
There are other ways to hold people accountable besides just simply sending them to prison.
Drug Court is a 2-year program that includes things like counseling, community service, and drug and alcohol testing. The judge has the option to send someone to prison if they're not complying.
There is no magic number that you can pull out of the air that says that if I send this person to prison or to jail for so many days, they're never going to drink again.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving wrote letters to the judge asking for stiffer penalties, such as an ignition interlock on Myers' car.
To make this poor choice and put the public at risk over and over and over again is quite concerning.
MAD spokesperson Lael Hill says Myers belongs in prison.
We fully believe that's where he should be, to hold him accountable, to keep the public safe, but to also show other people out there that this is a violent crime, it's not acceptable, and if you drive drunk, you will go to prison.
Myers invited me to read his letter to the judge, which talks about his longtime problems with drinking.
I read it.
You didn't read it.
Myers' license is suspended, but he can get it back as early as November 2016, a fact Mothers Against Drunk Driving finds disturbing.
We just want to make sure that the public is safe.
So far, Michael Myers has passed his drug and alcohol screens. The Hendricks County Prosecutor's Office declined to comment on Myers' case, but told us, "We have had many individuals graduate the program and lead a life of recovery without committing new crime, which fosters the state's ultimate goal of protecting public safety." If you'd like to read the full statement from the Hendricks County Prosecutor, you can head to the RTV6 app.
Wow, it just seems outrageous, Kara. How often does this sort of thing happen? A person with 8 convictions avoiding prison time?
Well, prosecutors tell us it happens more than you'd think. Each sentence depends on a slew of factors: the severity of the offense, their blood alcohol concentration, whether they hit someone, their criminal history, and whether they've been to treatment before.
And hopefully whether they are a threat to the public anymore. All right, thank you, Kara, for that report.